Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I got a lot I want to get to throughout this video, so we're going to quickly jump into CoinGecko here and look at the market cap. We're currently sitting at a $1.79 trillion market cap, currently down 0.6%. As you can see, Bitcoin sitting at 38,764. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're at 23. So just yesterday we were at 21, so we're up 2 points from yesterday. So there's still a lot of uncertainty within the market, and we know we have the Jerome Powell and the FOMC meetings coming up on the 15th and 16th when it comes to how they're going to combat the inflation that's going on with their interest rate hikes. Obviously, there was some FUD that came out from the EU stuff, but we're going to find out later in this episode here. It says after rejection of EU Bitcoin proposal, so we know that was declining in their vote. But looking at this range here, we've been in this range for some time now. It's kind of been our home, so there's still a lot of uncertainty within the markets. So just getting into the topics of discussion for this video, I wanted to kind of touch on some tweet threads that's talking about this library case, because they're kind of comparing this library case and what's going on between library and the SEC versus they're comparing it to Ripple versus SEC and kind of what the Ripple and XRP community is dealing with right alongside library. So this is from Jeremy Hogan. It says, this clip from John's interview with library is insane. Is this how a government entity acts nowadays? So let's take a listen into this.
Please explain that.
So first of all, the SEC conducts business the way the Mafia does. They have everything on unrecorded phone calls, which is also really messed up, because I would love it to have had permission to record every conversation I had with these people, but you're not allowed to do that. What they said to us on the call, and which our lawyers, by the way, are testifying this as well. This is not me. And they basically said, we could make this very expensive for you if you don't give us what we want. And they know all the power they have. It's cost. I mean, this case has cost me well over $1 million, probably approaching $2 million in legal fees on it. I mean, it's cost me a crazy amount of money. And they know exactly what they're doing. They gave us. I mean, they sent us in one of their what's it, like a request for something, like where a part of the subpoena, they asked us for literally every piece of data we have, all of it. They asked us for every database, every field, every property, like reaching into like view histories and stuff. We were able to get, we didn't have to give that over, to be clear. But they asked us for everything.
Please explain that.
So first,
So coming down here, Johnny Deaton says, Jeremy, the only other feelings you will get if you watch this half-hour interview other than anger is sadness. Our country and our public servants must be better than this. Dr. Joseph, I'm not even going to say the name. Dr. Joseph here says, our country and our public servants must be better than this, but they are not. That's the problem. And without any real accountability, this is unlikely to change anytime soon. Fundamental change must occur before this slippery slope takes us to a point of no return. XRP Crypto Wolf says, governments and democracy was supposedly created with the goal of being servants to the people. Unfortunately, that was the biggest lie ever. So, I mean, clearly listening to this, it's kind of sickening. And this is not just library dealing with this. This is Ripple versus SC stuff. The XRP and Ripple community are dealing with it as well. Brad Garland House and their team. Coming over here, here's another one. So he's talking about compare this video here, which is a minute long, to this one. So this is nuts. Let's take a listen into this.
Say, come on in. Come on in. We heard Bill Hinman say, and Jay Clayton said, come in and we will work with you. I have to tell you, Jeremy, tell you, Jeremy, if someone such as yourself came to me today as a lawyer seeking advice, I would say, don't cooperate.
Correct. That's my advice. I tell blockchain entrepreneurs, hide as much as you can do, obscure everything that you're doing, just hide as much as you can. And that's messed up, because that's what we did. We went in, we were maximally transparent. We said, here's the spreadsheet that you can download of a literally line by line of everything we're doing with our money. And all I did was get punished for it. No, there's no sense in which by being a good guy, you're going to avoid it. The SEC, they're lazy. They are lazy people. They don't care about catching bad guys. They care about catching people that they personally dislike or that are easy for them to catch. Okay, I mean, you can look at some of the actors in this space, and that have been, I mean, clearly selling stuff that's crap, and the SEC doesn't even go.
So coming down here, he says, now watch this.
Will there be a limit on the amount that a person could invest in Ethereum? different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of a sale, just to make it easier to disguise. Let's say if you're a whale and you want some privacy, you can buy 50,000 units and so nobody scares people with an enormous initial purchase. So if you are a whale, if you are planning on investing several million US dollars worth, then you can do that for multiple identities. We will ask for a real-world identity in the form of email address, just so that we can make sure that everything works smoothly the whole way through the process. But we won't be requiring it. So we can create a pseudonymous email and identity and purchasing.
So, and for us, that's been following the Ripple versus SC case and kind of following and piecing together the Ethereum Free Pass timeline that we've been putting together as a XRP community and Ripple community. We all know about this video down here, okay? That's nothing new to us. But now, when you compare the two, it's like you have Library, just like Ripple, trying to do things by the book, trying to follow what they say, coming in and having the conversation and kind of having everything kind of laid out on the table, kind of here's what we're doing with our money, here's how this happened, here's how that happened. But then you have, Ethereum and, Joe Lubin and them talking about, yeah, we can, create multiple different identities and have pseudo identities and, disguise the whales if you want to invest, several $1 million into this, and we can limit the units so you can't be detected and we can disguise your purchases. Like you have that stuff. And then there was an interview that we show from time and time in the community when it comes to Brad Garland and Joe Lubin being on this panel of 4, and Brad Garland calls, well, because Joe Lubin got at Brad Garland calls out Joe Lubin's like, hey, so, what have you shown? We're a private company, but, what have you shown? How much have you guys sold? What's in your reserve type stuff? Like he was kind of calling them out like, hey, don't try to come at us. Ripple's been doing it by the book. We're an open book, but like everything that you're doing is suppressed and hidden and in secret. And it's like now you have, Library and Ripple trying to do it the honest way. And then you have, Ethereum, Joe Lubin and who all parties involved kind of doing things not by the book, kind of in a shady behavior. And that's why they're kind of getting to this point of like, hey, no, if you're a blockchain entrepreneur, make sure you kind of don't do this, because it doesn't matter if you're trying to do it right or wrong. They're still going to come after you. And if you do try to do it the right way and you try to be an outstanding citizen and you go in and talk to them, all you're doing is pretty much crucifying yourself. So it's crazy that this is actually happening. Eleanor Trade had a good tweet here. She's responding to that video. She says, lots of things stood out to me in the interview, but here's what resonated the most. Quote, I tell blockchain entrepreneurs to obscure everything you're doing. Hide as much as you can. There's no sense in which by being a good guy, you're going to avoid it. Coming out here, she says, it's crazy to me that this is the kind of sentiment the SEC has fostered among blockchain entrepreneurs, that even if you play by the rules, you are still going to get dinged because there actually are no rules. This is certainly a case to pay attention to. Obviously, yeah, we know about the Library case going on and the Ripple case. There's a lot of similarities, and the communities can band together to provide strength in regards of the SEC's wrongdoing. Absolutely. Coming over here, the digital asset investor posted a good video here that I wanted to put up. It says, Congress, pay attention. You have an SEC that is hindering U.S. competitiveness in the world because it is captive to Wall Street incumbent interests instead of looking out for the best interests of the people of this country. So let's take a listen into this.
We have the technology to allow every financial institution on the planet to settle with every other financial institution in a compatible jurisdiction in any asset in seconds for less than a penny. Just think about this. Anyone who's made a payment knows that we're nowhere near that today. But imagine every financial institution settling with every other financial institution in seconds for less than a penny, any asset. That's fundamentally transformative. We have the technology to do it. Now we just need to figure out how to drive the adoption. And of course, there's all the challenges there's incumbents, there's regulation, there's inertia, there's the big players who are really trying to defend, if you're one of the largest banks in the world, you want to push pause or stop on technology because you're in the lead. So of course, you say you love technology, but obviously, you wish you could stop it. So all those challenges.
And if you mentioned Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs can do?
You can just hear the bankers panicking right now.
But what
Just
what
feel
line,
the panic in their voices.
What's the line
But here's
of business that is most
well. Here's what always happens. The first thing that happens is they try to go, oh, it's nothing, and they did that. I mean, that's with every new industry, every new technology comes along. The powers that be, the incumbents, the status quo, all say it's nothing. Don't ignore the man behind the curtain. This is nothing. And then all of a sudden it's too big to get in there. They're going, oh my God, I got to face this thing. And then they all line up and they wrap their arms together and they say, we're not letting this happen. And then it keeps going. And then they say, okay, well, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government.
There's another thing they do. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No,
Yeah, it's like
it's
the
after.
seven
It's
stages
after.
of grief, I
Right.
know.
It's after the press planting. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends involved. And then they go, oh God, this thing's happening. And then they go, okay, what are we going to do? How do we get it? So then they either make or buy.
We have it.
I mean, we've all seen that. For us that's been a part of this community following the case, we've seen that video already. So it's like, it wasn't he just telling the truth right there. Coming over here, this is a market wrap from CoinDesk. It says crypto declines after a rejection of EU Bitcoin proposal. Bitcoin trading volume is low as investors position themselves for a busy week. So coming down here says a controversial proposed ban of proof of work crypto in EU is off the table for now. So obviously it was outvoted. Said on Monday, a proposal that could have required cryptocurrencies to like Bitcoin to shift to more environmentally friendly mechanisms was rejected in a European or EU, so European Union Parliament committee vote. So obviously this stirred up a whole lot of FUD. Yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever. Yeah, started up a whole lot of FUD. Now it came out that it was rejected. So that FUD's gone. I wanted to touch on this. Elon Musk had put up a tweet says, what are your thoughts about probable inflation rate over the next few years? And Michael Saylor said USD consumer inflation will continue near all-time highs and asset inflation will run at double the rate of consumer inflation. Weaker currencies will collapse and the flight of capital from cash, debt, and value stocks to scarce property like Bitcoin will intensify. So we all know Michael Saylor is a huge Bitcoin advocate, or they call him Bitcoin maxis, and he has a lot of Bitcoin. And it says right here, Elon Musk says, it is not entirely unpredictable that you would reach that conclusion. As a general principle, for those looking for advice from this thread, it is generally better to own physical things like a home or stock in companies you think make good products than dollars when inflation is high. I still own and won't sell my Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Doge. And then he comes down here and he says, better to own scarce, desirable assets than currency derivatives in times of inflation. We agree on general principle. The challenge lies in sorting out which things, including physical property, digital property, and corporate equity, are most scarce and desirable over time. Coming over here, this is from Blockwork. It says, Illinois moves closer to accepting crypto for taxes, but not considering legal tender status. Illinois State Representative Margaret Croak hopes for clear guidance at the federal level in the wake of President Biden's recent executive order. Another thing here, it says from Blockwork, says Singapore's biggest bank CEO quotes, cryptos like Bitcoin will continue to grow at a meaningful store value. Obviously, we've all been here. We know that. The writing's already on the wall. Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay. And lastly, it says in 2021, Visa moved 10.4 trillion in payments volume. Ethereum moved 11.6 trillion. Quite interesting, hey? There's so much happening. There's still a lot of FUD out there, a lot of uncertainties in the market. We have Jerome Powell and the Fed. Their meeting coming up on March 15th, 16th. We have Biden's executive order. Obviously, the EU ban of proof of work in Bitcoin was declined in the vote. So there's still a lot of different narratives going on, but there's still a lot of adoption happening day by day. We're still early. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.